Hello, everyone. It's Connie Stewart with SimplySimpleStamping.com. I'm so glad you guys could join me for today's Tuesday tip. We're going to talk in December about stocking stuffers. You know, we're always looking for those fun and unique stocking stuffers or maybe some fun gifts for coworkers, neighbors. When you want to do a little something, show off your fabulous stamped art. Today, we're going to create a really fun box. This is a little box that's going to have your coffee and donuts. Who doesn't love coffee and donuts, right? It's got a little K-cup holder, a little spot for donuts on the side. It can be filled with many different kinds of treats. I'm so excited to share this project with you, so let's go get started. So let me show you our fabulous coffee and treat boxes. What I love about these is that I cut the lid so that it's a little bit shorter so we could showcase the pretty matching cardstock. Let me open up my Christmas version. So this one is done with the Sweetest Christmas Designer Series paper and some shaded spruce. I'm going to show you how to do that tag, but look inside. Oh my gosh, coffee and donuts. It just doesn't get any better than that. So you can see this is a fabulous little K-cup holder. Inside, I have these little donut sticks from Little Debbie, because you guys know, Little Debbie and I, we're like this. We're tight, we're close. And I found these glazed donut sticks, and like I said, it doesn't get any better. But if you don't have access to Little Debbie or you can't find these, guys, there's gonna be a lot of different treats that will go inside this box. You just need a good rectangular treat. Nutty bars, another favorite of mine. You could fit 2 packages of those in there. I found these little mini chocolate chip loaves. Well, look at that. That fits wonderful as well. Again, it's anything that's going to go well with coffee is going to be perfect for this box. I am going to show you this. You notice these little mini packages of cookies? They were a little bit too long, but let me tell you what you could do. If you had just the cookies, you could put them in a cello bag and you could fit 6 and stack them. So instead of 3 across and 2 stacked, you could do 3 stacked and 2 across. It would fit great. Lots of ideas on what you're going to be able to put inside that box. I don't know about you, I'm hungry, so we better get moving so I can show you how to make this box. Because if I'm not careful, I'm going to eat these before we're finished. So I'll tell you what, we are going to start with our supplies that we need. And guys, it doesn't even take that much. Don't you love that? We're going to start with some shaded spruce cardstock. I've got 2 pieces here. 5 3/4 by 10 1/2 and 2 1/4 by 8. Guys, that's 1 sheet of cardstock to create the box, and this is for the K-cup holder. So nice to know you can do that with just 1 sheet. For the designer series paper, as I said, I'm going to be using Sweetest Christmas. That's cut 5 1/4 by 10. And so that means you could get 2 lids out of 1 12 by 12 sheet. I've also got just a little bit for my decoration. I have got a 4 1/4 by 3-inch basic white, and then a little bit of ribbon, about 5 6 inches or so. This is a glittered organdy because, you know, I love glitter. All right, that's what we need. And as always, my friends, I've got a free download for you as well. So if you need to come back to watch the video again, you can always scan the QR code or you can click on it and it'll take you right back to my video. Everything I used, my measurements, photos, and right here you can click to order any of the supplies you need to create the boxes. But I got a surprise for you. I have diagrams to go along with today's tutorial. I know you guys love diagrams. So I'm going to make it really easy for you, a good visual so you can recreate this. Remember, this download is absolutely free over at SimplySimpleStamping.com. I'll tell you more about that here in a minute. Let's get started. I'm going to be using my Simply Scored board for this, but if you don't have that, you could use your scoring tool that's on your paper trimmer. I've got a little trick that makes creating boxes really easy when you use your Simply Scored board. So that's definitely the reason why I want to use this. Let's start with that larger piece. This is the 5 3/4 by 10 1/2. This is so easy. We're going to score at 1 3/4 on all 4 sides. Again, like I said, if you're using your paper trimmer and your scoring tool there, that works just as well. All right, 1 3/4, all 4 sides done. Now we're going to work with the, this is the K-cup holder. So this is the 2 1/4 by 8 inch. Here's our scoring measurements. Are you ready? We're going to score at 1/2 inch 2 3/4, 4 1/4, and 6 1/2. All right. Let me set that off to the side because now it's time to score our lid. This is the designer series paper lid. This is where things get a little interesting. All right. So if you've ever tried to make a box, if I score this exactly the same, these are going to fit there. It's just going to be too tight and you're going to have to squish the box to get the lid to fit. So I have created many, many moons ago, I created a tool. And guys, you already have everything you need to create the tool, so you don't even have to buy anything. But this is what I like to call my box maker shim. And I have a video. I'm going to share that video right up there in the corner if you want to check it. And by the way, I've also got this in the download. But what this little magic shim does is it's going to clip right here on the side of my Simply Scored board, and it's going to kind of bump out my score lines so that box and lid can live happily ever after, and that's what we're going for. So I did say that you have all the supplies to do this, and let me show you why. If you have ordered Stampin' Up! Stamps and they are photopolymer, you get a free piece of window sheet right inside there. It's perfect for this. Now, the window sheets, of course, you can see they're a little bit smaller than my shim. That's okay. Don't worry about the length. It's all about just having, this could be any size at all. All right. So like I said, you've got what you need to create that. So I'm going to clip that here on the side. Stick around. If you don't have this, I'm going to show you how you can do it on your paper trimmer with your scoring tool. All right. So we've got that in place. I just want to kind of gently butt up my designer series paper next to that shim. Make sure it's not going underneath. All right, that's kind of important. And it probably shouldn't, but you know, we always want to make sure. Okay, so we are going to score this at 1.5 inches on all 4 sides. And that little shim is what's going to make these two, box and lid, fit really well together. So I have scored that at 1.5 inches on all 4 sides with the box maker shim. Now let me show you how to do this if you're using your paper trimmer. First things first, let's get that cutting tool, the cutting blade, out of the way. We don't want to accidentally cut. So what I'm going to do, instead of scoring on my Simply Scored board, I'm going to put it at 1.5 inches. And then guys, I want you to scooch it down. Do you see there's a line here and a line here? I want you to go in between those 2 lines. So basically, what we're doing is we're going just a scooch less than 1.5 inches. And you're going to do that on all 4 sides. So yeah, just a tiny little hair less, all right? Do that on all 4 sides. You're going to accomplish the same thing. The Simply Scored board and the box maker shim makes it go a little bit faster, but that is how you can do it if you do not have the Simply Scored board. All right, let's start to create our box and lid. Now, I mentioned I had a diagram, so you can see there are all of your scoring measurements, but now it's going to tell us how to do our cutting. So you can see these are cut lines here, all right? Let's cut on our box, and we are simply going to go with the long side up at the top. Let's cut along all of our score lines. Now, I do get the question, Connie, do I cut on the score line, to the left, to the right? I like to say I want you to cut the score line off, okay? Just, and again, not a lot. So we're just barely cutting off that score line. Do you see? So that's the beginning of our box, and we've done that here. Now what we want to do, just like that. All right, now we need to do some mitering to these little tabs here. Now what I'm about to do, I only want you cutting on these squares, nothing else. And do you see that I'm cutting from the inside of that square to that outside corner? And this is what we call mitering. It just cuts off a little tab, and that's going to help my box and lid go together well. We're not going to have that bulk right up against our folds. So we're going to do that to all 4 of these little squares. You don't have to cut off a lot, but remember, it's from the inside of the square to that outside corner on both sides. All right, guess what? We're going to do that exact same thing, and we're going to do that to our lid. Now, I got to tell you, when you're working with designer series paper, it can be a little tougher to see those lines. So you might have to give them just a gentle little fold so that you can see them. But remember what I said, you're going to cut off the line. And remember what I said, we're going to cut off the score line and we're going to miter just like we did before. So again, inside to outside, only cutting on these outside squares. Once we have that done, on your designer series paper, we want to give these score lines a good crease with our bone folder. On the designer series paper, treat it gently, all right? We don't want to crease it too hard. We just want to give it a nice sharp crease. Now I'm going to do that exact same thing right here with my the box for our coffee and treat holder. And you can be a little bit firmer with your crease when it comes to the cardstock because it's quite a bit heavier. And I will tell you, when it comes to boxes, I really prefer to have a bone folder because I think boxes should have, well, they should be boxy and they should have a really nice sharp edge. If you've missed any of my measurements, don't worry about it. I've got a free download for you, so you'll have those at your fingertips when you're ready to create the project. You'll find that over at simplysimplestamping.com, or my easy way, just look down there in the YouTube description. I've got a direct link to today's post. You'll find that free download waiting for you. There you'll have the measurements, the supply list, a QR code, so if you need to come back and look at the video again, plus a button that you can order any of the supplies that you need right there. Guys, I would love to be your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, so be sure to check that out at simplysimplestamping.com. With that, let's put this box together, shall we? Guys, this is so easy. You have options. If you're a multi-purpose gluer, great, you can use that. If you prefer your tear and tape or your Stampin' Seal, you just want to make sure you've got a good, strong adhesive. I'll tell you what, I think for today's video, I'll go ahead and use the multi-purpose glue, but you can't go wrong with any of these, all right? You use the one that is your favorite. All right, so we're going to flip our box over, our lid. I'm sorry, we're going to start with this lid. So this is the outside, all right? This is the actual cover, and you can kind of see how it's going to go together. And so I'm going to lay this flat, and I'm not the neatest when it comes to glue. It's not my thing. So I'm going to put that silicone mat underneath me. Now, I want to make sure I'm getting glue right up to this score line, all right? That's kind of important. And the other reason I really like to use the multi-purpose glue on this kind of project is I have a little bit of wiggle room. If I need to move it around, I can do that. By the way, you notice I'm going to go ahead and add all the glue to all four sides and then put the box together. But you're welcome to do one at a time. I just kind of find this works a little bit better for me. We'll now come back and start with our very first one that we put the glue on. And can you see how I'm just lining up those two edges? That's why we cut off that score line so that it wouldn't show here when we put these two ends together. So, and again, like I said, I like to use the multi-purpose glue because I do have some wiggle room. Let's get our last one right there. And I'm going to go ahead and just give all those a really good press. Guys, lid is done. And guess what? We're going to repeat that exact same thing here on our box. Easy, easy. So I'm not going to bore you with watching me do this again, but at least here on the green, you can see how we want to be really close to the edge because we don't want the box to be gaping right there. So make sure you're getting really close to that score line. And remember, with this project, you don't need to use a lot of glue. This stuff is really strong. We just want to make sure we're staying close to the ends. Okay, and now it's time for the test. Let's make sure box and lid fit. Yes, they do. Do you see, we want to be able to get that box open. And if we had cut it exactly the same size, we would have had these two, it just wouldn't fit. We'd have to crunch that box to get it to fit. All right, now let's do some magic here for our K-cup holder. All right, remember, this is the piece that's scored. We had that little 1/2 inch. We had a little bit bigger. I want you to go to this fourth panel, all right? So not the one near the 1/2 inch. We want to go for this one right here. I'm going to use my layering circle dies. And I decided I'm going to go with the scalloped one. And you want to find the one that will kind of fit right inside that circle with about the same amount of space all the way around. So you can see this one's a little small. The other thing you can do is to check your K-cup. Well, obviously that one is not going to fit. And I want you to see it's not going to go all the way up, but that is the right one. Let me measure that for you. If I measure from the actual cutting blade, it's going to be about 1 3/4. The entire die is about 2 7/8. But we're going to die cut that right there, and that's what's going to give me this great little K-cup holder. This is a great project if you have the mini die cut machine. So what I'm going to do is I've got my plate 1, cutting plate 2. Remember, this is the area we want that die to go. Center that up right there. Add a top cutting plate. Let's run that through. This little mini machine is so nice for things like this. All right. This is a great little scallop circle. You can use it on the project when you decorate. I don't have a use for it, but I will save it because I'm sure I'll have something here in the future. Let's come in and we're going to gently fold those 2 score lines. Now, the reason I didn't do it before is it can make it a little bit difficult to get that die onto the cardstock when you've got this kind of bulk. So I always wait to do my scoring at the end. This little 1/2 inch tab, remember how we mitered earlier? We're going to do that again, inside, outside. Just cut that off. I am now simply going to adhere this together. Do you see? Just lay that flat and bring this over. You know what we'll do? How about we do tear and tape on this one? Let's shake it up. And so, yeah, if you're a tear and tape person, that works great right here. You just peel off the backing. Like I said, you're going to lay that flat. That is your K-cup holder. Fabulous, right? Now let's get our box, and we are going to put the open ends. We want those. We want it to be kind of hidden, right? So we're going to put it in like that. If you want to adhere this into your box, you are welcome to do that. We can put glue. In fact, how about we just do it? It is optional. It sits in there just fine. But we can put glue here and on the bottom. I like to take that seam and have it be to the outside. And we can just slide that right here into our box. Get my fingers in there. Again, as I said, optional, but it is nice. Definitely, let me tell you, even without gluing it in, it's really probably not going to fall out. So we have this. Again, remember I showed you all the different treats that can go inside this box. We have a lid that fits perfectly because we used our box maker shim, or we scored it just at that hair less. Now let's do some decorating. I love tag dies. I use them quite a bit. This is the designer tag dies, and I'm going to bring in the celebrate with tags, but you can use any stamp set you want to decorate. I'm sure you have a lot of different Christmas stamps. You get creative here. It's these dies that I love. I'm going to use this bigger one. You remember that basic white that we have? Let's die cut ourselves a tag, and I did that with my mini machine as well. Now we're going to do a little something fun with this one. I only wanted this ribbon to be on one side. I wanted this left alone. So guess what? We're going to do a little creative cutting because it wouldn't be a Tuesday tip without a tip. So see just this little tag part, just that little, we're going to cut that off. And I'm going to line up the edge of my tag right there in my paper cutter. I'm going to cut that off. And look, can you even see? I didn't even do a great job. See how it caught a little edge? I've got another tip. So many tips. I like to take a nail file, and if you ever have those little edges that show up on your cardstock, look at this. We just simply smooth that out, and no one will even know that this used to be a totally different tag. I love getting that much creativity out of my products. So now let's do some stamping. I'm going to bring in a shaded spruce ink pad and that winter glove. And when you stamp this, let's get all the way over near the little opening of our tag. Now some real red, and we're going to say Merry Christmas. And I'm going to do that at an angle. We love this because that means we don't have to worry about getting it straight. Didn't matter because I meant to do that. Now this stamp set does have a to from, but look, I don't have quite enough room. So another tip, I'm going to take my black Memento ink pad and I'm only going to say to, or you could even just say from, whichever one you want to do. And I'm going to stamp to right there, crooked. Hey, it's personal, right? It's you know what, would it be me without it being a little crooked? There we go. So you can see here on one that's good that yeah, you're just going to stamp that, and that way you have some room to write the name. Do you notice this? Look, I put a red rhinestone in the center of my little mitten. Now let me show you how we're going to do that ribbon. Fold your ribbon in half, go through the top of your tag like that. That's the folded end. Now we're going to take these tails and we're just going to run them through and pull gently. Guys, don't pull too hard or you'll tear that cardstock. So it is going to be kind of a loose knot right there. So that adds just a little bit of glimmer. And you can see I just added that tag to the top of my lid. We add that right here to our box. Like I said, everything fits perfect. We get to see some of that cardstock shine through. Fabulous little gift. I do want to show you an additional one that I made, and this one would be for any occasion. And I use the Abigail Rose Designer Series paper and some soft suede, so a little more vintage feel. When I thought kind of that vintage and fun, I thought of the Nothing's Better Than coffee. This one though, it says love you more than, because I use the dies. So I use the love you more than dies and the Nothing's Better Than stamp set. Little bit of light sponging. I used Very Vanilla on this one as well, and some of that gold and vanilla ribbon inside. There we go. More donuts, another coffee, all ready to go. I've got a fabulous little gift that I can give. So whether you need it for Christmas or you need it for just anything, and by the way, Valentine's, it's not that far. And so maybe something fun like that you could give to friends, neighbors, family when you want just a little something, or stocking stuffer. Who's thinking stocking stuffer? I think that's going to fit nicely into the stocking on the mantle, don't you think? All right. That is how you create a very simple and fun, and it doesn't use a lot of cardstock, remember? That's how we create a perfect coffee and treat gift. I so appreciate you being here today. Thank you. If you like the video, would you give me a thumbs up on YouTube? It is always appreciated. And if you haven't subscribed, hey, why not click that great big red subscribe button? YouTube will let you know whenever I'm back with a new video, and I would love to have you here on my channel. That's all for me, my friends. Can't wait to stamp with you next time. See you soon. Bye-bye.